Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Connie Rose, and I want to share some things with you guys tonight. I appreciate your time. I know there's a lot of things that you could be doing tonight other than hanging out with me on Zoom. So I want to make sure that this time is worth it for you. So I'm going to tell you some stories and share some things that changed my life, like actually saved my life. So about 5.5 years ago, my 18-year-old son tragically had a massive heart attack and was instantly gone. And as you might imagine, things did not go well after that. And in fact, I actually ended up in a wheelchair. So I'm an NLP master coach and trainer. And what I know about the body is that all dis-ease has an emotional component. So my back had went out before, my left knee was out, my right knee went out after my son went to heaven. And what I know is that our knees help move us forward. So guess what? I didn't want to move forward. And it was for sure the darkest time of my life. I was 48 years old and in a wheelchair. And I had two parents that were both sick, and I needed to figure some things out. Therapy did not work, medication did not work. We had just started COVID. There were no support groups. I mean, it was just not a good situation. And one day in August of 2020, my dear friend Julie Brandt reached out to me and said, "Girl, I know you're not doing well. And I know you're into all the woo because I'm kind of a woo girl. However, I love science. I'm a nerd. I love all the science too." And she said, "There's this software and they're looking for beta testers. And I know you love to experiment with things. And so I think that you would love this." And I said, "Okay, tell me about it." I didn't even experience it. And she said, "Well, I don't know a lot about it either. They're just looking for beta testers, and it says frequency wellness software." And I said, "What is that?" And she said, "Girl, I actually don't even know what it is. What I know is I heard about it. I can't even explain it to you, but I think that it's going to help you." And I'm like, "Okay, great. Sign me up." And she's like, "Well, I need to sign up first, and then I'll sign you up." And I'm like, "Okay, great." So the stories I'm going to tell you tonight is how this technology not only saved my life and got me out of a wheelchair into a walker, then to what I had to use next, a cane, into the gym, last 4 years, rebuilding my body, and miracles have happened. And not just in my life, but in the lives of hundreds of people that I've been able to talk to about this. And so tonight is really about expanding your awareness of what's possible with frequency technology. So, how it supports the body, mind, spirit, and how this for $149 a month can completely change how you see and care for yourself in regards of wellness and its total body, heart, mind, soul wellness. So, what is frequency wellness? So, you might be someone who has worked with frequency devices before. You might be somebody who's never even heard of what frequencies are. So, I will tell you, I'm going to borrow a quote from Einstein, pretty smart guy. Einstein said that the future of medicine is the medicine of frequencies. And so this technology, it might sound new to you. However, they've known about this for over 100 years. So basically, you're going to hear me use some terms tonight. And basically, what the software will do. So we are more than just a physical body. We have a body, but we're not just our body. We have, our emotional body, which is around us. We have a field, it's a biofield. And this is all can be measured. It's all scientific. And we have a video about that if you're interested in more information. I'm not going to go into all of that, but what I am going to tell you is that we have an emotional body, we have a mental body a little further out, and then we have a spiritual body. So our biofield is about 8 to 12 feet. Okay. And our biofield is actually more powerful than our physical body. So we have a physical and a field. So, did you know, like I said before, everything has a frequency. So they measured about 75 years ago, they figured out what the ideal frequency is for all parts of our physical body, all parts of our emotional body, our mental body, and our spiritual body. And that's a number. So if you've ever seen frequencies written, like sometimes people here say, "Oh, I know about frequencies. I've seen those on YouTube, like 528 or different frequencies, right? That you can see like this music is frequency music." Our software has over 171,000 frequencies in it. And so it's not just one, it's custom to you. So basically, what our software does is it will scan your physical and your field. I call all of that you could call that your biofield, you could call that your frequency blueprint. I've heard different names for it. So it's going to scan you. So, like, let's say it's just scan Connie. And then, like I said, they have identified what those perfect frequencies are. So, with my belief system, I call those the divine frequencies. So, growing up, I always heard that we were made in his image, but no one could ever tell me what that was. I believe it's perfection, right? So, those perfect frequencies I call divine. That's a divine blueprint. So, it'll scan me first, and then it's going to compare me to the divine blueprint because I'm not in alignment always because so many things happen. Like we have toxic air, water, food. Our thoughts could create and toxicity and imbalances. So many things, right? So it'll scan me, and that's the first scan, and then it'll compare me to the divine blueprint. And then the software is so smart, it knows what frequency it needs to send to me, like it'll broadcast it to me, and then it brings me into alignment. And as awesome as the software is, God made our body the miracle. So when we're in alignment with that, to be in resonance with that, our body naturally heals. It just naturally does it. Like we don't have to do anything. And so, I want to be really clear about something that our software is not, it is non-medical. We do not diagnose. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. It's non-invasive. It is a frequency wellness device for education and information. And I'm going to tell you why a little bit later. So, so that's when those frequencies get sent to me and bring me back into resonance. We call that optimization. So you'll hear me talk about scanning and optimizing. That's what that is. So I'm going to just really just go over the software and show you how easy it is to use. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Wendy, can you see my software?
I can.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay. So our software, like I said to you, it's $149 a month, and you get all of these things. So let's just this all of this together is like having a frequency wellness clinic in the palm of your hand because this used to be a $38,000 device. Now, most people can't afford to have a $38,000 device for their own personal and their family's wellness, right? So Lauren Swenson is the founder of this company. He has one of the purest hearts I've ever known. And his mission is to have this in 1 million homes. And he thought there's no way we could do that at $38,000. But he had this brilliant idea of having, and he met engineers who had the brilliance on how to transfer what was happening with this device and put it on the internet. So literally, like right now we're on the computer, but I could run this off of my phone. I could run it off of a tablet or an iPad. And so it's like having a whole frequency wellness clinic in the palm of your hand. So I'm going to go through the different parts of our software and show you how very simple it is to use. So we just start at the top and we're going to go down. So at the top is my profile. This is where you put in your profile. Now I want to tell you, you could use this. There is no limit on how many profiles you could have. You could have literally thousands of people, all your family, your friends, your neighbors, coworkers, anybody can go into here and you could help all of these people for no additional cost. It's unlimited profiles. Now, here you could actually add in supplements and therapies. And what this software will do, it's similar, like it'll scan my body, but it'll scan it against the supplements and say, what do I actually need? So our society was trained by the pharmaceutical industry that if the doctor tells you you need to take a pill, and they're going to tell you you need to take that pill like once a day, twice a day, three times a day, but it's every day. They don't tell you, oh, just take it every now and then. They tell you to take it every day. So guess what we do with our supplements? We take them every day. And I don't know about you. I'll hear about things like I was having cramps for a while and they said, you should take magnesium. So I started buying magnesium. And then I heard about vitamin D, how important vitamin D is. And so guess what I started doing? I started taking vitamin D every day. And then I heard about, oh, this really great thing called like digestive enzymes, like that will really help your digestion and your metabolism. So guess what I did? I got digestive enzymes. And then before I knew it, I was paying hundreds of dollars a month on supplements, and I didn't even know if I even needed them or not. So this technology you could put in your supplements and it'll scan you and it'll scan the supplements and it'll say, Connie, you just need these today. You just need a handful. You don't need, the $400 worth that you spend a month. And so, and it'll also tell you what kind of therapies you need. So you could put in the different kinds of therapies that you do, like whether it's red light therapy or massage therapy or lymphatic drainage or any kind of therapy that you're doing, chiropractor, and it'll scan your body and tell you, yes, this is what you need today. So it takes the guesswork out of a lot of it and saves you a lot of money. Now, I'm going to tell you, this one thing alone when I first started using the software, this one thing alone more than paid for the software for me. Okay. So that's just something to keep in mind. The next thing says pets and animals. So the great thing about scanning pets is that there's no placebo effect. When I work with people, they can sometimes even think in their mind, like, is this working? Is it not working? And their belief system can actually impact the results. With pets, guess what? They don't have those belief systems. So I have a little black cat. Her name is Sophie Rose, and she's my heart. And she was having some eye issues when I first got her as a kitten 2 years ago. And poor little thing. And I didn't know. And I'm like, I will only use medication as the last resort. That's just my personal thing because I think if there's something natural we could do, better, right? So I started running, scanning and optimizing little Sophie and doing special frequencies for her eye infection. And guess what? It cleared up. And that was not a placebo effect. She didn't know I was running those frequencies on her. So this is not just for your family, this is for your fur babies too. I know people, farmers that are using this for their cattle and their horses and even their flocks of chickens. And so, really, what I also tell people is that really this software is only limited by your imagination. So, that's where we put our animals and pets in. Then the next thing is spaces and objects. This is kind of interesting to me. One of the first things I saw, so we have, like I said to you before, we have 171,000 frequencies. And if you'd like to see a list, we have a 53-page list of a bulk of them. Whoever invited you to this presentation can either send them to you or send a message to me, and I'll be glad to get that list to you. One of the first things I noticed is there was abundance, wealth, and success. Well, who doesn't want more abundance, wealth, and success? So then I realized I could put as a space, I could put my bank account into this and send abundance, wealth, and success to your bank account. Now, I will tell you, um, since I've had the software, I don't know what it is, but what I do know is that my income has drastically improved. And so I assert that that has made a difference. I also noticed on my list of frequencies that there's insect detox. So one day I was at home and I have a split level house and my garage is underneath part of my house. And I was married at the time, and my husband said, "Oh my God, there's so many spiders in the garage. I can't even go out. I need to do some work in the garage, and I can't even go out to the garage. There's so many spiders." And I said, "Okay, send me a picture." And this is in the very beginning. Send me a picture. And so he's like, "What are you going to do with this picture of the garage?" I said, "Just send me the picture, and I'm going to put this in my software, and I'm going to send insect detox frequencies to my garage." And he was like, "Yeah, right." I'm like, "No, let's try it." So I did, and guess what? About an hour goes by, and I said, "Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you run out to the garage and check to see if there's spiders out there?" And he's like, okay, there was a lot of spiders. There's no way you got rid of all these spiders. And I said, I don't know. Let's just find out. And so he went out there and he's like, there's no spiders. He said, there's no dead spiders, but there's no spiders. And I said, yeah, they just left. Like they just went away. And so like he became a big believer just because of the spiders in the house. So literally any kind of space or object you can put in here and send frequencies to. So I go to this gym and work out. And so I send frequencies to the gym of like strength and stamina because I thought, well, why just be selfish when I'm going to the gym, not just have frequencies being sent to me, but like to everybody. So when I'm working out, all my little workout buddies get the same kind of frequencies. So literally, again, our imagination is our only limitation. This is also where you enter in, like, edit a current client or create a new client. That's how you put your family and friends in here. And then there's also groups, and I'm going to be talking about groups in a minute. And then this is where you search all your existing clients. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to talk about is quick scan. So I start every day with quick scan. Now, here you can see there's morning, midday, evening, custom scans. And this is where one of the places where we scan our pets. And this is where we'll do the scan of the day at whatever time it is. And this is where the supplement scans actually get ran. So you just click on the scan. Um, It'll pull it up. Here's the different categories that I put in there. And you can see you can put as many categories as you want. So like I have a yes, no category, which helps with muscle testing. So if there's anybody that knows anything about muscle testing, like a lot of times chiropractors will like put your arm out and you'll muscle test things, right? You could actually use the software for muscle testing. I have different brain states if I need to go into words, tools, pain relief. Like you could literally select whatever ones you want and then simply record 10 seconds and then it'll tell you what you need. That's how simple that is. So that's the morning, but you could do afternoon, evening, or a custom one at any time, and then one for your pets. The next category is energetic auras. This is actually where I start every day. So I'm going to do this now for a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of clearing frequencies. I love clearing. It just clears your biofield. You hear that? It always makes my chest open. I just feel like I can take a deep breath. I just feel the stress melting away. Now we also have a shield. So I talked earlier about um, there's there's three things that we have to keep in mind when we don't diagnose things. Well, one of this is related to the shield function. So our like I said, our biofield goes out 8 to 12 feet. So guess what? When we're hanging out with family, friends, loved ones, we probably are closer than 8 feet to each other. And so our biofields overlap on a daily basis. You go to the grocery store and Lord knows what kind of biofields your energies mess is interacting with. And you could actually pick up other frequencies from other people. So I will tell you, I went to this event one night and I was sitting next to a chiropractor and I happened to know this chiropractor was dealing with black mold. And when I got home that night, so I was this one seat and then Dr. Kraft was here and then my friend was next to Dr. Kraft. And so we sat for maybe 2 hours during this meeting. I got home, I ran the software. I didn't clear and shield. I just did a scan and optimization. And guess what showed up in my scan? Black mold. And I knew I have a house that I don't have black mold. And then about 20 minutes later, my friend calls me up and says, Connie, did you get black mold in your scan? And I said, I actually did get black mold in my scan, but you know what? It's not ours. It's got to be Dr. Kraft's biofield, right? And so I said, but you know what? In the morning, it's probably going to be gone. So guess what? In the morning, it was gone. It wasn't ours, but we got to clear it. And so that shield function, I'm going to run the shield, will actually protect us so that other things don't come in. So you're not getting things that you don't want. Now we also have EMF shield. So I don't know if those of you who are aware of the impact of EMF frequencies on us, they're everywhere. We could actually create our own EMF shield like stickers for our phones. For I have on my computer, on my microwave, I have them all over the place, in my car. And so that I'm not going to play that one now, but that's another frequency that's available. Then we have these 3 minute boosts, and boy, oh boy, are these useful. So there's supercharger. So guess what that one does? It charges up your energy. So if you need a little boost, 3 minutes later, you got a boost. Focus is great for if you're learning something or studying for your kids. Relax. Sometimes I need help relaxing, believe it or not. And so I'll just run a little relaxation frequencies. Grounding, I'm going to run this one. It's my favorite. If you've learned anything about grounding, it helps connect us to the ground. Wendy, can you hear me talk over the frequency? Okay, great.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
fine.
thank you. So let me tell you a little bit about birds. And so the birds, and the birds are singing. There's something very ancient, hardwired into us, because birds will sing when they feel safe. Now, a friend of mine recently told me that they also have a special song that if they talk to each other, to warn each other if there's something coming. But most of the time, when you just hear birds just sing along, it's because they feel safe to do that. So that sends a message to like that's hardwired in us that if they're safe, guess what? We're safe too. And so it just automatically kind of like grounding feeling. And so what Lauren says, I'm not going to run it for 3 minutes. Lauren says just literally less than 30 seconds, we get the benefit. So I hope you feel a little bit more grounded. The next thing is neuroaerobics. And so I told you I was a nerd. I am a total nerd, especially when it comes to the brain. So we have different parts of our brain. And so we have the left and right hemispheres. This will help connect left and right hemispheres, front and back, top and bottom. So it's a great little boost if you're not thinking the like as sharp as you normally do. So those are the 3 minute boosts. Okay, the next thing that I do in the morning is this easy scan. And you can see here, step one, step two, step three. And it's the inner voice scan, the vital scan. And do you see how it says scan and optimize? It'll do both. It'll scan me and then optimize, send the frequencies to me, and then comprehensive scan and optimize. So it's three in one. And simply all you do is hit start scan. It counts down. You speak for 10 seconds and then you get your reports along with your audio. So I'm going to go through each of these three pieces. Um, because you could run them separately if you want. So here's inner voice. This is actually the inner voice technology is what I do believe saved my life. So inner voice, let me look at my notes for a second. It analyzes your voice. I'm going to show you a report. So it analyzes your voice over 12, it's 9 octaves in 12 notes or zones. So when I say the zones, the 12 zones, those are like the black and the white keys on the piano. So you could see this is my report from earlier today. And you'll get a report. So you speak and then it'll give you custom music to bring your I don't know why it's spinning. Oh, here we go. Okay.
I think there was some lag
It's
with
taking a
your internet because you were kind of cutting out a little bit too. So might be a little internet issue.
okay, thank you. I think you might be right.
We see the report now.
Yeah, it's kind of just spinning. So you can see the different colors. So colors are, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, great. So here's my report, and you can see over these 12 zones, there's things that are higher and lower that are out of balance. And so what this does is it addresses the top three frequencies that are out of balance. That's what's going on in the conscious mind. Then there's the lowest frequency. That's what's going on in the unconscious mind. And so it helps bring you back into balance. So I keep seeing it freeze up. I am so sorry for this. So it analyzes your voice and emotional frequencies to bring you back into balance. Now, this, I call this Inner Voice 3.0 because this is the third rendition. Now, I will tell you the very first version is what saved my life. It just has gotten better and better since then. So you use headphones when you play this because this is whole brain resonance. And you can see, like, it'll show me the highest note, left part of the brain, right part, and then the lowest note, which is the lowest part of the brain, which is that fight or flight. It's the unconscious mind right there. So literally all you have to do is put headphones on and play the music. So it's easy to listen to, is what I'll tell you. This new Inner Voice 3.0 is based on the Verde scale, which we've always been based on the Verde scale, which means it's 432 hertz. So back in around World War II, people got together and said we needed to have when you tune an instrument, an A needed to be 440. But guess what? That's not how the body resonates. And so the Verde scale is based on A being 432. And so all of our music has always been the Verdi scale, so it's 432. It also has solfeggio frequencies as, as well as Rife frequencies. So like Dr. Royal Raymond Rife, very, very powerful frequencies. You can look him up. And like I said, we have a video about that too. Tesla healing frequencies. And this is whole brain resonance. This is why you have to listen with a headphone. I have heard reports, not only do these frequencies help with people with things like pain, anxiety, depression, sleep, um, grief was a big one for me. For myself, like I said, I was in a wheelchair and I didn't want to be here. Just to be honest with you, I did not want to be here. Why would I want to be here? My child was the love of my life and he wasn't here. So I didn't want to be here either. And I had to figure it out. And nothing was working. And listening to this music, literally in 12 minutes, there's four songs. They're each 3 minutes long. So it's about 12 minutes. Literally in 12 minutes, it would bring me back to center. And it helped me get out of not only out of the wheelchair, it helped me get out of bed so I could function again. I have seen so many miracles just with people listening to the inner voice. Um, so we have like story upon story. Wendy has a Telegram channel with testimonies on it. And if you don't have that information, we'd love to get that link to you and you could read about like story after story about how different parts of the software have helped people. But this is like I'm like inner voice is near and dear to my heart because this is actually what saved my life, honestly. The next thing we're going to talk about is vitals. And in vitals, we scan and optimize things like food sensitivities. So, using part of the strategy, using inner voice and the food sensitivities, and there's a couple other things that I use within the software, it has helped me release over 100 pounds. And I have more to go. And it's been with no suffering, but it tells me what I should not eat, what foods I need to avoid for the day. I used to pay my chiropractor like $400 every quarter to tell me this information. And but it's expired as soon as you get the information because we change all the time. And so the food sensitivities, like literally every day you can see what your food sensitivities are. You just stay away from those foods and your body responds better. It also shows things that are going on in your blood, your chakras, which are your main energy centers in your body, your gastrointestinal functions. How many people have issues with digestion these days? Your meridians, if you've ever heard of acupuncture, those points on your body form pathways, those are called meridians. It's how energy literally flows through your body. It's a 9,000-year-old science. Nutritional analysis, it'll look at your macronutrients, your micronutrients. What about your amino acids? Things like that. On a daily basis, you have access to this physical functionality. It's things like what's going on with your ligaments, what's going on with different parts of the functionality. It's really about the functionality of your body. Then there's also toxicities. We talked about how It's everywhere. There's toxins everywhere. And unless and until you address those toxins and get those out of your body, like it's just going to clog up the system and your body's not going to work as well. So those are the kinds of things. And again, you just select scan. And when you're done scanning, you do optimize. And that is how easy it is. However, if you're using Easy Scan, like I showed you earlier, it just goes from inner voice to vitals to comprehensive. You just have to hit one button and you get all the information you need. They could not have made it any easier. That's how, so that I've used vitals in many, many different ways. Then I'm going to skip over body systems for just a second, just to stay with the easy scan. So comprehensive. Now, this is, I tell people it's like the hardware of the body. It's scanning and optimizing things that like you could actually touch in your body. Again, you just hit scan. When it's done scanning, you hit optimize. But let me just show you some of the things that this scan does. All of your arteries, your chromosomes. Look at that. You get chromosomal readings, your connective tissue in all parts of your body, your ears, your eyes, your heart, your lymphatic system, which again, connected to that detox system, your muscles in your body, your nerves, your organs, pretty important, your skeleton, and your veins. So again, it'll read what it is. It'll then optimize and send its frequencies so that it brings it back into balance. Now, what I'm going to tell you is when we look at these reports, I always tell people you got to keep three things in mind. This is why we do not diagnose. So one, for those of you who know me, you know I'm not a doctor. I don't try to pretend I'm a doctor. I just know how to use the software. I know how to hit scan and optimize. And just doing that is a therapy. So, like I mentioned earlier, we are not just physical, we have a field. So, this is picking stuff up in our field. So, when we get the report, we don't know. It could be in the field or in the physical, number one. Also, as part of number one, when dis-ease enters the body, it comes in through the spiritual field, part of our field first. If it's not optimized and balanced, guess what? It gets a little bit denser, goes into the mental field. If it's not scanned and optimized and cleared, then it goes into the emotional field. And if it's not scanned and optimized, guess what? Then it lands in the body. Now, here's the other thing. On the way out, it goes out the same way. So it leaves the physical, goes into the emotional, goes into the mental, goes into the spiritual, and then leaves your field. So for people who are getting these reoccurring infections, guess what's happening? Things are not getting cleared in the field. So with our software, we are actually clearing and optimizing not just our physical, but also our field. And I'm going to tell you, in the past, before I had this technology, anytime I went on a trip and was around a lot of different people, like especially like on a plane, I would about 50% of the time I would get sick. I'm going to tell you, in the last 2 years, I think I've been on over 50 planes and I have not been sick one time. I've been on a cruise. I've been all over, like literally all over the place. And I don't get sick because I regularly do the energetic maintenance for my body. That clearing, scanning, and optimizing just does wonders. Okay, so for the next thing I skipped over is body systems. So these are all the systems of the body. So if you want to specialize in this particular area, you could just do scans and optimizations on, and this one is just one button. It scans and optimizes. So we got the circulatory system, connective tissue, digestive, endocrine, lymphatic system, musculoskeletal, nervous system. That's a big one. Respiratory, sensory nervous system. That is our senses, our eyes, our ears, our taste. Integumentary, that's our hair and our skin. So if you are wanting to grow more hair or less hair, just get it back into balance. That's that. Urinary is great for kidneys, bladder. Chromosomes, there's our chromosomes again. Human cell and mitochondria. Oh my goodness. Our mitochondria is like our battery cell of every single cell. So can you imagine that's going to scan and optimize us on a cellular level to optimize our mitochondria? Then it does a hormone panel. Oh my goodness, this is a big thing, especially so I'm 53 and I might have occasional issues with hormones going through menopause and all of those fun things. And I'm going to tell you, I don't have problems with my hormones because I scan and optimize. So I went through like menopause with a breeze, and now my like I don't really haven't noticed that much of a difference. Now I do run hot, but I just think that's because I'm hot. And then there's the chemistry, the chemistry panel. So chemistry is like all of our blood work that we would normally get. Now, when you normally get your blood work, they just take the blood and they give you the reading. No one's optimizing anything. With our software, it's optimizing that. Now, again, we don't know when we get the results if it's in the field or the physical. So let me tell you the second thing you got to remember when we see these reports. Do you remember I told you how we pick up things from other people? So the things that show up in our reports can be influences from people that are, especially people that are on a regular basis in our field. So that shows up. The other thing that shows up, just like we inherit DNA and physical traits from our ancestors, we also inherit energetic patterns from our ancestors. Those are called miasms. So when we see these reports, we have to take everything kind of with a grain of salt because we don't know if it's in the field or the physical, if it's on its way in, or if it's on its way out, or if it's something that I picked up from my neighbor or my boyfriend or whoever. I don't know if it's from like 7 generations up, my grandparents, and I'm clearing some stuff out for the family line. I don't know. What I know is I feel great. And really, the experience is all I need to know. Okay. Next, I talked about comprehensive multi-scan. Oh my goodness. So, like, I hope right now you're starting to see, like, I think this really might be useful for me. And I've heard some things that, like, I think that might help my dad, or that might help my sister, or that might help my cousin, or that might help my neighbor. Like, you might be thinking these things, right? So, multi-scan allows you to scan and optimize, guess what? 16 people at once. So again, up here under your profile, it says manage client groups. So in each group, you can have up to 16 people. But guess what? Guess how many groups you think Solex is going to limit you to? Guess what? They don't limit you at all. So you could have unlimited clients and you could have unlimited groups. And it saves you a ton of time. Okay. Next, after multi-scan, there's a couple parts of our software that you have to take additional training for, and that's homeoenergetics and the dental. We actually have a whole full dental program that takes additional training. And then we have SEFI. So I'm going to talk a little bit about SEFI, and then I'm going to turn it over to Wendy. So the other big thing that helped really save my life is, and this is something that I'm going to tell you, Solix doesn't necessarily teach this. This is something I kind of stumbled upon and have been like shouting from the rooftops. So we have a feature called erase. So what erase does is it literally pulls out frequencies that are not supposed to be there. So, for example, like if I'm going to scan and optimize my, like stones are really great. Like you could, like anything that'll hold a frequency, whether it's a piece of jewelry, like metal, or stones, or homeopathic tablets. You can make your own homeopathic remedies. Water. I'm always, I imprint my water every day. So if there's something and you think there's just a little bad juju in anything, or before, like I'm doing my jewelry every morning, I erase. So I was thinking, well, if it takes away frequencies that are not supposed to be there, I know that my pain in my body, that's not how God designed me. That's not supposed to be there. And I thought, I wonder what would happen if I took my scanner. So I had pretend this is my tablet and I pulled that up and I started with my knees. So I just put erase on there and I'll just show you how easy this is. You put erase on there and then you put it over the area that you have pain. This also works for anxiety. So like you know how anxiety is stored different places in your body? This really literally works for anything that's not supposed to be in your body. Um, so I would literally put it on my knee and just hit start and I would run it. It only takes about 10 seconds. Now, usually it takes more than one time. And so I always assess like what's the pain level or anxiety level or whatever level before I run it. And then I run it for a few sessions. And then I think, okay, now let's reassess. And it goes down and down and down and down. And so that's what erase does. It's that simple. Isn't that easy just to be able to press a button? I will tell you, today's Thursday. Yesterday, I woke up with a migraine. And I literally got rid of my migraine by doing erase, erase, erase. Now, I used to be in bed for days. I would have to go to the emergency room and get shots to deal with my migraines. Just this alone, to me, worth $149 a month. When you are in pain and you can get rid of pain on your own, literally from the palm of your hand, I mean, this is like miracle technology, honestly. We also have imprint where, see where it says copy from and then imprint to. So what I do is I'll take the supplements that it tells me to take and I could imprint them into my water. And I'm not going to say a lot about this. You could just like think about what this could mean, but you can make your, or you could put it into homeopathic remedies. You could put any, like, but basically it's copying the frequency of something you put here and then imprint it into something that you put on the bottom screen. So I do that on my tablet. So I'll have like a little glass jar of this and then a little like my water here. And so it'll just transfer, it'll read the frequencies here and then print them in the frequencies of whatever you place where it says imprint to. And again, you just hit start and it runs. It's that's that simple. Okay. I'm going to go back and then I'm going to turn this over to Miss Wendy Brennan. So this, I want to introduce Miss Wendy Brennan. So I did not even know this beautiful woman 2.5 years ago. I saw her at the gym. We go to the same gym, but I really didn't know her. And we had said hi a couple times, but we had a mutual friend that connected us. And she has become one of my very best friends. And I want to tell you, she is like the epitome. Like if you think about everything you'd want in a friend, that's Wendy Brennan. So I'm just delighted that she's here and that she's going to share with you how she uses SEFI to help people every day.
Thanks, Connie. I love you too so much. Connie's brilliant. I'm going to tell you a story about the night that I really got, I don't know, I didn't get to know you real well, but you came to my house
Yeah.
because the person that introduced us, I had seen her scanner. We were at the gym. I'd seen her scanner and it was a graph. And my mind immediately went to day trading because I'm like, why do you have this up at the gym? Right. And I thought this must be really important. She's going to lose some money or wants to make some money. But my husband does that. So that's where my mind went. So I said, are you a day trader? And she said, no, I use this to help with my multiple sclerosis symptoms. Like my brain couldn't wrap around that in the moment. I was late for work, but I've been in natural health since 2001. And I immediately was like, I'm going to learn more about that. I said, I want to learn more. And it took a couple months, but she brought you over to my house and my husband was here. My friend Ann wanted to see it. And we're sitting around my kitchen table. I got a round table and Connie's going through the modules just like she is for you right now. And we're thinking, well, that's interesting. That's kind of cool. Wow, that's out there. We're thinking all those things you might be if you've never seen this. And then you told me not too long ago, because I didn't remember that you had done inner voice for me and Dave. So we got to listen to our inner voice. We got to experience that. But that was the only thing you had done when you asked him, Dave, do you have any pain in your body? And he said, well, not normally, but this week my foot is killing me. I don't know what it is. And she says, let's try something. And this is why I think Connie is brilliant because she had come up with this idea like, well, if you can erase jewelry and water and, anything, a stone, what if we just put it on the area? So she puts it down on his foot. And I think you did about 10 erases, which are only 20 seconds each. So it just took minutes. He turns like this around to me and he goes, well, this is crazy. And I said, what? And he goes, my pain is gone. Now, mind you, they didn't know we had pain. They didn't come over to help us with pain. So that was like, wait, what's happening? And I said, gone? And he said, 100% gone. And I'm like, what? And so I was like, oh my gosh, I have to tell them what's going on with me. I didn't normally walk around with constant pain, maybe a little bit of mild low back pain, a little bit older, a little bit heavier than I want to be, but nothing to talk about. But for 5 weeks, I had very intense hormonal breast pain to where like if I woke up in the middle of the night to roll over, woke me up. So I felt like I hadn't slept in weeks, like not a good deep sleep. And all I could think of was like, I could take that pain away, then I could get some sleep and then I wouldn't feel so crazy. And so I asked, can you help me? And I remember you saying, we'll certainly try. Like, you didn't over promise. you underpromised and you definitely over delivered. Because what happened was, so she hands me her tablet, right? And she says, well, just hit that button there and just put it here and then hit it again. And when it goes out, hit it again. So they're busy talking and I'm just kind of taking care of myself, just doing one of these things. And finally, I'm kind of getting bored, actually. I've done it for about 12, 15 minutes, set it down, and I'm looking at all of them like, remember, I'm over here. And so I said, okay, I'm done. What do I do? And they're like, well, do they hurt? And it was that awkward moment where I realized a whole bunch of people are going to have to watch me as I compress myself. And I was in complete shock. I was like, wait, what? I'm doing this. And I'm like, shut the front door. Really, I was like blown away. And I said, I'll be honest, it's like 90%. And they wanted to they asked if can we work more on you? And I was like, I didn't know anything. So I didn't want them to undo anything. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. This is like really great. I was so happy. I knew I was going to sleep. So the next morning, my husband gets up. I usually sit in bed with my coffee and he's got to get ready to go to work and everything. So we talk and, while he's doing all that, and he just had this real pensive look on his face. And finally I was like, what? You're so intense this morning. What's going on? He goes, I'm trying to figure out what that was. He goes, my foot still doesn't hurt. And I just like, what the heck? And I said, that was wild. And I said, let's keep learning. And he goes, why? We know it works. I think we just need to get it. He's awesome. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So, there's this thing that says, that goes, one day can completely change your life. And we know that's true, good or bad, right? One day can completely change your life. Well, May 30th of 2023 was the beginning of one of the best days. I'll call it one of the best days of my life. I didn't know where it was going to go, but that was, and I thank you so much, Connie, for asking that question. If we had any pain in our body, because I don't know, what, I don't know where I'd be. I don't know how impressed I just don't know. But that made a difference for us. So for some people, I've been doing this a little over 2 years now, and there's a lot of people that will tell you the scanner has saved their life. I mean, we have some amazing stories. We had a testimony come in today. We were talking about the Telegram, right? You want to get your hands on that Telegram channel. Maybe we can put it in the chat, Connie. It's public. You can invite anybody to come look at it. We had one come in today where the gal had lung crystallized nodules. I don't even remember the name of it, granular nodules in her lungs. And she was scanning and optimizing every day. I don't know for how long, but I believe she's had the scanner for 2 years. And I don't know when she was diagnosed with that, but she's been very consistent with scanning and optimizing every day. And her report came back that she doesn't have that anymore.
It was an MRI.
It was an MRI. Okay. Yeah. She doesn't have it anymore.
Legit. It was not her scan report. This was her medical report.
Right. Yes. Thank you. That's a good differentiation. So the doctors can't find what she was diagnosed with. Now, here's what's really important. It's great that went away. What's really important, they wanted to put her on high doses of antibiotics for an entire year. Well, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen? A lot of other problems are going to come cascading in, and I think that's just an avalanche of issues that would have happened.
Her gut system.
It would have destroyed her gut system, her second brain. So the scanner, I think she would tell you, perhaps saved her life, because that could have been a disaster and you don't know where that would have went. But for me, it was life-changing, because I realized, having been in natural health for so many years, it was a natural progression for me. I had already been talking to people about nutrition and, trying to help people just have a better life. Mine had been changed with the education and knowledge I had gotten over the years. And it was perfect timing for me to take on, because I knew how great it was. And I just continued my educating, and sharing and wanting people to just be gifted with something that could be amazing for them. And I think my favorite thing about, I use SEFI all the time because of my story. I kind of, you kind of attract what you've been through, right? I get a lot of people well, I got pain here, I got pain there, so I'm in SEFI all the time. I could not live without Easy Scan to make sure I scan and optimize every day. Could not live without Inner Voice, and the 3.0 is just amazing. And
Yeah.
I could not live without SEFI. I'm in SEFI every day. So yeah, we have that. Everything's great. Everything is great. But those are the three that like the basics for me, like I don't want to miss. Um, so anyway, I think I've covered enough. You know,
Yeah.
I hope,
So
yeah,
one
if
of
you
the
have any
things
other
you can
questions,
do,
you can ask me.
one of the things, yeah, we're gonna take questions at the end in a minute. So one of the things you can do is you could create your own custom playlists. And so I have all these different playlists like abundance, cell salts, eczema, grief relief, master pain list, skinny drops, weight release, Christ consciousness, abundance, vagus nerve, emotional support. I mean, like literally, just use your imagination. Just use your imagination, and I can help you. We have tools to create these playlists. And so that's an amazing feature. And there's all these other frequency areas. Like, so all of the homeopathic remedies are in here. And I mean, it's amazing. Like the cell salts, the no sods, if you know anything about that world. So, I mean, literally, like, look at these. I mean, there's thousands of frequencies in here. Um, we could like I said, you could literally make your own pharmaceutical or not pharmaceutical, homeopathic remedies. They're listed by symptoms, so if you're you're not quite sure what you need, here's different symptoms, and you could just as easily go into this part, and there's kidney failure, there's kidney pain, kidney stones, knee pain, like, so if you look at knee pain, it'll tell you, okay, here's the homeopathic remedies for knee pain. Great. um there's and then you could imprint them into something or your body, or you could broadcast them. Broadcasting is like through the quantum field, just like prayer works. When I pray for, if there's something going on with, let's say something's going on with Wendy, and I want to pray for Wendy, I don't have to touch Wendy to pray for her. It goes, my prayers go through the quantum field and make a difference that way. That's how these frequencies work. And so you could broadcast, and then there's a fractal amplifier. It's kind of cool. You could watch what it does. It amplifies the frequencies. Then we also have different affirmations, the chakras. We have essential oil frequencies. So I love essential oils, and I spend a lot of money on essential oils. And now we have the frequencies of essential oils. So I could literally broadcast essential oils to people. I mean, oh my goodness, there's so many. I could spend an hour just on this little area alone. We have energy homeoenergetics, which we have all of these detoxes. I mentioned how important detoxing is. There's all of these detox frequencies in here. Um, I mean, it is amazing. Like I said, literally, this is only limited by your imagination. Truly is limited by your imagination. At the bottom, oh, here's AO Tune. Like every tuning fork that has ever been made, we have all of the frequencies for all the tuning forks. And then like they have these features here. It says scan. So whoever the target is, so like I have my cats, I have my house, I have my gym, right? I have all these things. I have my computer. My main computer's having issues. So I've been sending frequencies to my main computer. And that would be the target. And then I can scan and see what frequencies are needed. So literally, let's say I want to see like my little Sophie Rose. I'm going to scan my little Sophie Rose, and it's going to tell me right now Sophie Rose can benefit from, oh, she might be in pain or she might be under stress. She needs sky. And so I literally would just like scan her, and I could go down here and I could choose, do I want sine wave, which helps with like I have education on all these different things, different kinds of waveforms. And all I have to do is hit, and it'll send those frequencies, not to me. It'll send them to Sophie because she's the target. But do you see it? This is very simple. It really is very simple. Um, there's one more thing on Cephi I want to show you. Multicast. So just like we can have a family group, right? Where we could scan and optimize our family members. We also have a family group where we could send frequencies to them throughout the day. And so I have my brother and my cats, and I have clients in here, friends, my niece, and literally at one time I could send frequencies to all these people, and I could have it broadcast for 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or I could have it unlimited and just hit the play button and just it'll go. So that's SEFI, which is, I mean, it's just amazing. There's one more thing. So earlier I told you I am a NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, neuro linguist NLP master coach. I invested $30,000 in a year of my life, trained up to be this, have this certification. Now, when this came out, I was so excited, but I was also like, I just invested $30,000 to learn how to do this. And now, literally, we have one of the best biohacks to impact your limiting beliefs that I've ever seen. So you don't have to spend a year, you don't have to spend $30,000. We have MindSync. So MindSync is engineered so that, again, just like inner voice is engineered, where there's different frequencies in each ear, with MindSync. So I don't know how you guys are about affirmations. I knew the power of affirmations, but I will tell you, when I would hear affirmations, there's this part of my brain, I call it the itty bitty shh committee. And the little committee would have things to say about my affirmations. So I would say, I am naturally thin. And my little committee would tell me, girl, you are not. And so there was this back and forth, right? Like I really had to like get into it to have those affirmations work. Well, with this technology, one, you're using the power of your own voice. Your voice is the most powerful sound you could hear. Outside the voice of God, I'm going to say that. Your voice is the most powerful voice you could have. So this generates audio files specific to your voice with your words, and we also have a way to they have scripts in here already. I personally think you should create your own script based on what you want. But and again, anything you want, like be as creative as you want. Like what do you want? What do you want more of? I worked with one of the VPs at Solex, and I said, "What do you want?" And he goes, "I want to be a really great grandpa." Like he had had some new grandbabies, and it's like, "I just want to be a great grandpa." I'm like, let me show you how to do some things, and let's create some affirmations for that." And he was like, "Wow, this is amazing." And I'm like, "Yeah." And so all you do literally is you hit record, and you read your affirmations, and 3 minutes later you hit play, and you got your set of these binaural beats. And it used to take, I think they said it was took like almost 30 minutes to process these back in the day. Now it's like like literally minutes. You could offset the hertz, so where it is in the head, where you're hearing it in the head. I always recommend it says tone. So guess what? I don't know if you've heard of heart and brain coherence. It is the one of the most powerful states you can be in, especially for healing. So you could actually scan to see what emotion is kind of standing in the way with getting these limiting beliefs on board. So you could scan or you could just choose one. So that helps with this helps with brain heart coherence. But guess what? Do you see this little button here? So you could choose other music that you want, but this is the button that you really want. It's the inner voice. So you could have, so we always do inner voice first, and then you add your inner voice music to this MindSync recording. I'm going to tell you, the results that I've been getting and the results that my clients get now because of this alone is worth the $149 a month, bar none. Um, and this is just one of the pieces that it is. Like, oh, by the way, we can also change your brain. We can change your beliefs, by the way, like in addition to everything else. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, I have a graphic here somewhere, and I might just read them to you. Um, so because I'm on my son's computer. So I told you earlier that this is worth way more than $149 a month. I hope that you can start to hear some of that, right? The supplement savings alone saved, I literally saved over $200 a month personally in my household just by scanning my supplements in. Also, there's tax savings because just like so I'm we're called quantum living advocates, so I can share this technology with people and the company pays me to do that. Wendy is also a quantum living advocate. Like our lives not only changed in our physical and emotional and mental and spiritual ways, they've also changed financially. This company has a very generous compensation plan. And part of that is we also have access to tax deductions. So I'm not going to go way into this because I'm not a CPA, but and what I will tell you is that everyone in the world should have aside something of something because when you have At business, you have access, business owners have access to up to 400 and I think 86 different tax write-offs. So this software is actually a tax deduction for you. And like your internet, because you need the internet. So guess what? Tax deduction. I use it on my cell phone. So guess what? Cell phone plan, tax deduction. I go out to lunch with Wendy and we talk about this. Guess what? Write it off on my taxes. So the tax savings alone pays for itself. You know, I really do call this an income generator in the palm of your hands. Also, you could have additional revenue streams because guess what? People will pay you to do these sessions with them. Like I have regular clients, coaching clients, and they pay me to do the MindSync recordings with them. So that's an additional source of income. I also have a team. I have about 350, 400 people on my team. And guess what? The company very generously rewards me for taking care of my people. And so that is like a passive residual income. So I have more time freedom. So does Wendy. So do a lot of
Mm.
people that are on this call. And again, if you want more information about that, get back with the person. We have a video all about that. Also, like I said, it can literally shift your limiting beliefs around money because you might have this conversation in your head like, yeah, Connie, $149 and I see what you're saying, but I don't know, like that's a lot of money. Well, do you know what? $149 to save your life in your family's lives is not a lot of money. It's less than $5 a day. And if that's where you're at, guess what? MindSync can help you with that. So you could literally shift your frequency, shift your mindset, reprogram. The great thing about this $149, it is month to month. There's no contracts. There are no hidden fees, just unlimited access to the most advanced frequency technology on the planet. To me, this is a no-brainer. So if this resonates with you, trust that feeling. That is the frequency alignment that is calling you forward. So if you have never experienced an inner voice session, because I'm telling you that is the deal, please reach out to the person that invited you to this presentation. If you're watching this on YouTube, reach out to me. I'm glad to do that with you. And I'm going to stop the recording and take some questions.
Connie, I did put the testimonies link in chat if people want to go in there and click on that. If you don't have Telegram yet, you will need to join Telegram.